Okay, class. So today we will be picking up a case on rebranding. Rebranding exercise becomes necessitated in particular situation, and the case that I have given to you today is one specific case which deals with rebranding. Simarjit will first give us a brief for the discussion today. Simarjit, please.
The brand was started in 1980 by 4 Indian immigrant women, and the main reason to start the Shama was to cater the audience with a wider feet. So these type of women were not catered in that era. The market which was expanded for the women which have narrow feet. And times in European Union and Europe, the narrow feet is considered as a beautiful part. But with the wider feet women, they were suffering with lot of problems. By 2010, the business was really good as most of their population was Gen X and Gen Y population, which were really appealed by their product. But in 2010, Gen Z came to picture, which were not so price sensitive and are fast fashion oriented. This was the main reason to initiate a rebranding strategy. And by 2020 COVID-19 outbreak, they were left with a pile of dead inventory which was now old fashioned. For that, the rebranding strategy helped Shama to initiate an ideal marketing mix and cater new products, colors and design which could appeal the Gen Z and re-establish the name brand Shama in the British market.
The reason why I picked up this case was that it showcases a scenario where established brand for the last so many years had to rejig itself in order to respond to the changing marketplace. And we all know change is the only constant in this world.
The times has passed that the customers are looking for the products. Now the products themselves have to look for the customers. I think that is what the brand is doing right now. When you have a monopoly in the market, customers come and look for a brand, what the product lines are offering, what specific marketing tactics they are using. In the early 90s, when they had a very disorganized market and the product line itself was very new to the customers and they were seeking the products, the brand developed a habit that a target audience was coming to it to buy a product. As the market grew, the competitors also grew. So now the product itself, the brand itself has to cater to the customers, has to go find the customers for themselves.
Now we will start with the SWOT analysis. That is the first point. When we carve out our strategy in any particular situation, strength and weaknesses of the SWOT is internal to the organization and opportunities and threats are external to the organization.
The founders themselves understand the market very well. They develop the product around the problem statement itself. Being the immigrant population, themselves they understand how the product should be, how the product should look, how the product should match their pockets. So I think this is one of the strengths because the founders understand what the market is.
Who would like to come up with their views on the weaknesses of Shama?
So the weaknesses that I could figure out in this case were that the brand was less focused towards marketing. It was more reliant on word of mouth rather than any other marketing strategies. The products were handmade and not mass manufactured, which made it a bit difficult for the brand to cater to the needs and demands of the customers, leading to an increase in the supply and demand gap.
If your growth is not pacing up, if it's constant for some time, you have to rebrand, introduce new strategies in the market for the upcoming trends and challenges as market is never stable.
We've learned most of the things through books. Having a case-based approach helps us understand better, for example, SWOT analysis. So it is a very simple, but it is one of the most effective analysis for any marketing strategy. Strength, weakness, opportunities and threats. These are the basic understanding that any marketer should have for a brand that they are working with. Tomorrow we are going to be managers, we are going to be marketeers. The approach that we have to have for any problem statement that we get, there is a sequence to it. The end result might be completely different, but you should follow a certain sequence which helps us understand the problem better, and these sequences are not made up by the professor or made up by our institute. It is researched from so many years, so it has some valid point. That is the reason it is there in our curriculum.
Here we have different counterpoints and then we agree to it. Decision making ability also enhances by doing the case based approach. I feel that these things definitely improve and it will really help me in workplace also.
Okay, coming to the the opportunities. Now we look at the external issues which will craft our strategies, and that is the opportunities available to Shama. So who would like to give their input?
I have came up with 3 major opportunities in this case. First was
there was an increasing shift towards value and ethics. And the second was, after the COVID-19, there was a rising popularity of online shopping. And the third one is growing interest in personalized experience among the Gen Zs and millennials.
You have to catch a bus very early, because in this case, rightly pointed out that they missed certain buses, certain trends, like the internet age. They missed the trends. I think that hit the profitability of the organization themselves. When you're not growing in the market, you're definitely shrinking.
Before rebranding, a company should conduct a proper survey, analyze the market in which they have to launch their product before rebranding, and what kind of upcoming trends will be overtaking the market. These kind of things are necessary to analyze before rebranding any product.
In case you have to rebrand it, obviously you will have to look at the various nuances of the brand itself. Do you want to change the whole brand per se? No, because that brand has an equity in the market which you have developed for it over the last few years. The issue is, how should I leverage that brand equity so as to make it more contemporary to the present audience? So that may require changing one of the elements which actually is outdated or has become irrelevant for the current market. Let us look at a logo of Tata's. They have changed. Look at Mahindra, they have changed. So they only change the logo. Other things remain the same. Some of the brands, in order to reach it, they reposition themselves. So for example, if I see that brands like Nestle Milkmaid, it was earlier a dairy whitener. After white revolution, every middle class had milk in their home. So what to do? And moreover, people became conscious about diabetes. In order to make relevant, they repositioned it as a topping for the mithai.
Repositioning can be done by launching new product or new market campaigns, promoting their upcoming products or the product which is already existing in the market to create an awareness, to reposition, to change the perception of the customer, which that targeted market.
Basically, Shama was a family business. And what happens in a generational business is that people usually don't tend to change. The same thing happened with Shama. The first generation of the owners of the Shama or the promoters were not really excited about rebranding their business, as they were thinking that the audience they were targeting and the business is expanding at a good level. But the second generation, when it came into existence, they got to know that the main segment they are targeting, that's baby boomers and Gen X and Y, they are near to early retirement stages, and the shoes they produce were for long-term durability. So they were not able to purchase new shoes, and if they will not purchase new shoes, the market will go dead. That was the main, I think, the challenge that company or Shama faced for expanding. Another challenge would be that they were working with the traditional marketing mix, and that was not applicable at that time. And we can basically say that they were suffering from marketing myopia.
So now we have a very complete picture of the various strengths, weaknesses that internal organization has and the opportunities and threats. Now let me come up and talk about how we can use these four to come up with a TOWS framework. So if I look at this, so I say strength, combine this, okay, and we see how we can link these two. Because when we come up with this particular framework, we say that how we can leverage our strength to capture the opportunities in the market, how we can use our strength to mitigate the effect of the threats in the market, and how we should realize that what are our weaknesses which are preventing us for tapping the opportunity in the market. Can we overcome those weaknesses? And when we talk in terms of the understanding of WT, weakness and threats, how the weakness, that is internal, and the threats, external issues, are confounding and complicating the whole matters for us. So that is a very serious red mark for us, and we should be very, very careful about WT. So now let us come and do this type of analysis for all these four types of combination.
I wanted to talk about the emotional connection. It is one of their strengths, because they were able to emotionally connect with the women in the both of, especially the Gen X and the baby boomer generation. Furthermore, Noida stated a section of LGBTQ which was being more accepted in society. Because they were able to connect to women, it would be easier for them to connect to a particular sector which is marginalized at that point of time. So this is one strength that they can use, and the opportunity of LGBTQ coming in, one aspect that they can take advantage of.
Yeah.
as we are growing online also, digitally also, they went to new communities like LGBTQ, and also they were focusing on socially aspect also, like breast cancer, and also omni-channel presence. Means selling it online and then selling it offline also. So these things they can do, and they were also doing like micro influencing, means targeting, giving the products to the influencers so that they can cater the niche audience.
Trends are changing. We have to change according to that. Like Mr. Mukesh Ambani said, data is the new oil. So why not focus on that? I think the CRM, the customer relationship management, is a very important point where the data is collected from the customers themselves. Shama as a brand was doing very well as it introduced Shama guide, which not only collects the data from the customers, it also personalizes the data. I think it also provides assistance, fashion assistance to their customers.
Thing is, so far we have looked into issues regarding brand, why rebranding was required by Shama, and we did a SWOT analysis to understand its strength, weakness in terms of the opportunities and threats, and we tried to see how we can get the best out of all these combinations through a TOWS framework. I encourage students to think in terms of making regular or continuous change or improvement in their business model, and to appreciate the fact that if your brand is irrelevant to the current context, then it has to be made relevant again.
Discussing a case is the best way to learn. Things you learn from your classroom is way more than what you learn from the books. And I think if a case is put up in front of a classroom, suppose my class is 64 students, so on a single topic, I'll get 63 different approaches of the same thing.
The problems which we are given in case study, they are not hypothetical problems. They are real world scenarios. Up ahead in the future, whenever we work, we might not encounter with the same problem. It might be a combination of 2 or 3 case studies that we've done. So it helps us become more creative and more imaginative to find solutions.
So with this, I stop this particular case, okay, and hope that this has given you some thoughts, okay, or exercise on how a rebranding exercise should be done.